Hey, this is Chris from StockSpot, and a question we often get from clients, particularly those that are younger and wanting to get started investing, is should I be investing before I've paid off my student debt? And in Australia, there's all sorts of different student debt. Used to be called HEX, now it's help debt. And there's lots of other government programs that allow you to borrow to study. Effectively, the way that this works is you borrow from the government, and then every year you can pay back that loan, or if you earn a certain income, you have to pay back some of that loan. But each year the debt is indexed to inflation. And in fact, this has changed recently. It's no longer only indexed to inflation, it's indexed to the difference or the lower between inflation and the wage price index, because government wanted to keep the growth of these debts a bit lower for students. So the question is, should I pay that off first or should I invest? Now, ultimately, it comes down to a few things, including your risk tolerance. But I've actually had a look at the stats over the last 10 years to have a look at a side-by-side comparison. So I imagined, let's say you had a $10,000 debt in 2013, and you had to make a decision, should I pay that off now, or should I invest in a diversified portfolio? How would it have played out? So over the last 10 years, from 2013, if you had paid off that debt back then, you would have saved about $3,500 of interest. So that certainly would have been a benefit. However, if you had instead let that debt continue to grow and invested that $10,000, that would have grown in a growth portfolio like the StockSpot Topaz portfolio to about $24,500. So you would have been about $11,000 ahead. Now, there's a few caveats here. The first one is that the StockSpot return is before tax. So you would have had to pay some tax along the way on any income you earned, as well as any capital gains at the end. But even after accounting for all of this, you would have been way ahead investing in a portfolio and would have been able to pay off the debt in the end. Also had a look at year by year how it would have played out. And actually over the last 10 years, 8 of the last 10 years, you would have got a better interest rate, or a better return rate rather, on your investing rather than the interest rate on your loan. And there's 2 years, 2018 and then 2022, where actually the return from your portfolio would have been less than the indexed interest on your loan. However, obviously over 10 years, the difference compounds year after year after year, and there has historically been a much better return available in a diversified portfolio than the CPI indexed student loans. So if you are a student considering this, there's obviously a few things to consider, and it does depend on your financial situation and your personal circumstances. But a government loan for the money you needed to study is actually quite a low-cost loan. And so it is worthwhile considering whether that money could be better used somewhere else rather than paying off that loan immediately.